and it's for you to find out what you are good at and what needs improvement. There's nothing wrong or right about doing the first project, because it's the bellwether of everything that's coming forward in your future speeches. So whoever stood here to do their first project, that is a big success in the Toastmaster journey already. So could we give Dan a big round of applause? Not just because you started speaking in front of the audience, but you did that really well. The reason is you follow everything that the manual told you to do, and you may realize that in the future speeches it's very difficult to do that. But in the first speech, you are supposed to introduce yourself to the audience to make us understand more about you, and we did. Because you start by asking a question. That is the classic way to start a conversation, by asking a question to the audience so that the audience can see your viewpoints and can relate with you in your points later on in the speech. And then you have repeated ideas that stick. It makes a stick in my mind. The sleepy boy, you repeat that twice, and the castle is the amazing analogy for the dream in your life. You start to build a castle and it got swept away by the wave. Start to build another one, it got swept away. But then you never gave up. And that was really nice idea to include in your first speech so that people can remember your ideas. And thirdly, you follow chronological order in your speech. You started off by telling us about your childhood, and then your study and travel to US, and then your work. It makes us really easy to follow your speech. And now, I think you have done a wonderful job for your first speech, how to move on to your second speech, because your second speech is on organizing your speech. So I will give you a few points for you to improve further so that you can be better in your next speech. Now, you look a bit stiff. You stood here and you did not move around so much. That's okay for the first speech. But I'm going to suggest you one technique to loosen up yourself. You can start off by your hands, because your default hand movement is here and you put it right into your pocket. This was really stiff, because when you want to loosen up yourself, you got to move your hand much more. So you got to change your default hand position to either this, or either this, so that your hand doesn't look stiff. And if your hand doesn't look stiff anymore, your whole body will not be stiff anymore. Now, the next point is for you to be focused in your speech. You move from points to points, that's fine. You move from your childhood to your work, to your study and your work. There was not much relation between these points. Because you mentioned your castle and your dream in your childhood. You mentioned that you went to US, and then you mentioned that you are working now. You only mentioned the castle back at the end of your speech. I would suggest you to have a common tagline for all these points. For example, when you're small, dreams are like sandcastles swept away easily by the ocean waves. But when you're working, when you grow up, you start to become stronger, your castle becomes stronger, waves cannot wash it away anymore. So when you repeat points like that with a common tagline, people will remember your points very easily, and it will become a really strong speech. And then you can conclude with that tagline. Then I can never forget that. And now, thanks to Hai Ling, I have been reminded that we are a club with strong members, and I do believe that all of our members, no matter how good you are, how strong you are, or no matter how much you need to improve, you are the key culture of our club. You are all the bellwether of our club, and I think that each of us can contribute something to your clubs. I hope that you can contribute something to our club too. Thanks to you.